Welcome to Bitsquare. In this video I want to explain the arbitration system. We will go into the details of the arbitration system with some screens what we have prepared in the client already. It's very basic and it's not completely implemented at the moment, but it shows a little bit the basics, and I want to try to explain all the details. The basic concept of the arbitration system is that it's the main protection for the trade, for the exchange, and as it is a very important part of the exchange, we have to take care that we don't introduce any single point of failure in a centralized entity. So the arbitration system itself is a peer-to-peer system, a decentralized system, and everybody can become an arbitrator. There is no restriction at all. Every user has to select at least a few arbitrators. It would be something like 3 or 5 arbitrators what a user has to select, and then when he is in the process of a trade with somebody, there will be selected the intersection of the two sets of arbitrators, of the two traders, and from this intersection there will be selected one arbitrator in an unswayable way, so no trader can easily collude with an arbitrator. But the main protection inside of the arbitration system is the deposit. When you want to become an arbitrator, you have to pay a quite high deposit, and that will be locked until you are leaving the arbitration system. Of course, you can leave anytime, and if everything were fine and you have not scammed anybody, and the deposit will be something like 10 times the maximum trade volume what an arbitrator can take. You can manage the arbitration system, so you can become an arbitrator, you can register yourself as an arbitrator, you can define how you want to set up your ID, if it's a real life ID, your real name, if it's just an anonymous, if you want to stay anonymous with a nickname, or if you're a company, then you edit your company details and you define which level of arbitration identity you will use. Then you will put in the supported languages. Of course, that the languages what you are able to speak and to communicate in case of an arbitration. The more languages you can add, the more chances you have that you get selected as arbiter. Then the maximum trading volume. There will be an overall limitation of the trading volume for the exchange. At the beginning, quite low, maybe 1 Bitcoin, and maybe later, if we see that everything goes fine and there are not much fraud going on, maybe we can go up to 5 or 10 Bitcoins. But there will be always a limitation. You never can trade 100 Bitcoins because it would be just too risky. Yeah, and the arbitrator defined that he maybe just want to take trades with 1 Bitcoin. And that max trade volume will be used for the deposit. So there will be a multiplier like 10 times the maximum trade volume what the arbitrator has to pay in for the deposit. The deposit will go to a 4 of 6 multisig address, and the key holder of this locked funds will be other arbitrators, and these other arbitrators, there will be the highest rated arbitrators, and which are registered with real life ID or company, so no anonymous arbitrators, because they have higher trust level. The passive service fee, that will be taken every time when a user is using this arbitrator in a trade. The details are not defined yet, but probably the offer fee will be used as payment for that. Might be that it will be paid in a random way, because we cannot share when there are 3 arbitrators or so in the list. We cannot divide a very small amount to 3 arbitrators, because the Bitcoin network fees will be too high to lose too much. So there will be a random selection, and in the long term every arbitrator will get more or less the same share. And we still not decided that the arbitrator can define this fees, or if there will be fixed. Probably it will be fixed this passive service fee. But that's important because that the arbitrators also earn money if there is no dispute going on, because they have to define here everything. They have probably also set up a web page with more background information, and they have to be available. So when a user needs arbitration, he has to react at least 48 hours or something like that. This service availability is also kind of work, and there should be some payment for that. Then the arbitration fee, that's also not so defined yet, if there will be a fixed amount, or if it's opened for the arbitrators. Probably it will be open, that we have more market, where the market can define how much they want to take. But it will be probably something between 5 and 20% of the trading volume. But there will also be a minimum amount, because also for small amounts it's always minimum probably half an hour work for the arbitrator. So when there is just 0.01 Bitcoin trade, it's not worth the effort for him. So he will take a minimum active arbitration fee, and this value will be used for setting the collateral. So the maximum of the arbitrators what he used, and the maximum of the minimum arbitration fee, or the percentage, will be used as collateral. So a realistic collateral will be probably something around 10 or 20%. But the collateral is just as deposit, so it's paid back at the end after the successful trades. It's not lost money. And then he can set up, or he has to set up the methods what he used for arbitration. There is one really secure method that's called TLS notary. That's a pretty new system where the arbitrator can control that the bank transfer really has been done. He can ask the trader that he go to his banking web page, to the history, and then make a kind of a recording from just this one page from the history. So no private data with the login are exposed, of course. And the arbitrator will get the proof that this page has not been modified with some hacks or so, because of course when you do a video chat or so, you could set up a proxy and could fake the content of this banking web page. So that's a really secure and cryptographic secure way how to prove the bank transfer. But that's a totally new project, and some users might be scared to use a project what they probably will not understand, because it's pretty complex. So we cannot use this mandatory. We will integrate this in our system because it's the best solution. But we will offer also classic arbitration methods like Skype screen sharing or a smartphone video chat, where the arbitrator asks the other guy to go to this banking web page, to the history, and then make a video chat with the smartphone and show him the data there. So, and that's, I mean, it's very hard to fake such a video, it's nearly impossible. But of course there could be scams with something like a technical experienced user setting up a proxy and faking the content displayed on this web page. But it's pretty hard, and at the end the money what can be what the cheater can win is limited to the trading volume. And a cheater who will do this, who will repeat this, will get so the arbitration cases will get registered in an anonymous way. The details are not defined yet, but there will be a list of the arbitration cases with the account ID or something like that. And if a user have many of these arbitration cases, of course it will be the arbitrators will take care more to find out if this user is not a scammer who repeat always some fraud like that. And the arbitrators also can set up that he will require a real life identity or a bank statement, a signed bank statement, or something else. There will be fields where you can edit more. It's just very basic defined yet. And there will be also optional ID verification that might be used when there's more scam going on in the exchange. Then the users can choose that they do identity verification against the arbitrator. So in the registration process, he can contact an arbitrator, and the arbitrator will also offer which kind of ID verification he will do, with passport or government issued ID or utility bills or some social network accounts or PGP or some web of trust platforms. Of course, it's a privacy problem. That's why it's just optional, and it's just a measurement might be used in the case when there is a lot of fraud going on, and the users might prefer to lose their privacy against one arbitrator, also only this one arbitrator will have this private data then from the user, and the arbitrator will deliver a certificate which is signed from the arbitrator, and then this certificate will be used with the account. And in the order book you will see if another user is verified and which kind of verification he has done. And in the trade process the ID is not exposed to the other user. I mean, it's just from the bank account, the name is exposed, but not anything of any of those data. It's just the certificate presented, and there is an arbitrator who has signed this, so everybody can be sure that this is correct. The arbitrators act like a high trust environment, because when they are cheating, when they are misbehaving, they will lose a lot of money. They will lose something like 10 bitcoins or even more. So they don't have much incentive to cheat. Then of course you can add some web page. Probably will also add a bank account verification. So because in the registration process before a real trade is taking place, the bank account data could be anything. It's not verified at the moment. There are a few cases where this could lead to some fraud activities. And also to deliver an optional improvement of this overall security, we could offer an optional bank account verification. So the user can make at the time of the registration a verification against an arbitrator again. So the arbitrator will make a small payment to his bank account, and the arbitrator will see then if nothing was rejected and everything went fine. Probably there will be both in both directions a payment. Yeah, that would help that we can be sure that the bank data are correct, that this user is really the owner of that bank account, and also the arbitrator will only give a certificate that he has verified the bank account. But that's at the moment that's absolute no high priority, because I think it will probably be not needed, but we will include this optional feature just in case if more fraud is going on, then more people will probably use such verifications to have higher trust. And in the order book, these users who has a verified bank account and a verified identity will get the better prices and have more trades probably. But yeah, I hope we don't need this. And the arbitrator of course can have here more information with description and web page and so on. It's just very basic at the moment. And the next part would be the payment. That's not implemented yet. So he has to pay in to a multisig address his deposit, and at the moment when he leaves the arbitration system, so maybe after 3 months he thinks now he don't want to do this anymore and he will quit his job, then he will get paid back his collateral. just in case when he has not behaved correctly, that he has, for instance, accepted a screenshot in an arbitration case, which everybody knows very easy to fake, then he will lose either a part of his deposit or completely his deposit. And in the arbitration system, there will be a kind of hierarchy. The arbitrators who are registered with real-life identity have higher power, like the arbitrators who are anonymous. In normal arbitration cases, that's not has no importance. But for instance, when there is a arbitration as a dispute, and the other arbitrator decides in favor of Bob, for instance, and Alice says no, she's not happy with this decision because she was honest, and she thinks that the arbitrator has not worked seriously, then she can ask the arbitration system for a second round, something like a Supreme Court. And then from the highest rated arbitrators, one arbitrator will be selected, and this arbitrator will then have a look to this case and will control how the arbitrator has worked and if everything was correct or not. And when this arbitrator finds out that the other arbitrator has, for instance, colluded with Bob or has accepted a screenshot or something like this, then the arbitrator will get kicked out of the arbitration system, and depending on the case, when he has done some real scam or was colluding with another peer, then he will lose all his collateral. And if it was not such a clear misbehavior, then he would lose a part of his collateral. Yeah, and the selection of this higher trusted arbitrators is done. They're only real-life identified arbitrators and the arbitrators with the highest reputation. The reputation is an open question if we use a reputation system inside of the arbitration system. So the traders, maybe both, or maybe just the winner or the guy who has contacted the arbitrator, can do the reputation, because normally the other guy who will lose the money will give a bad reputation, so it will not have much value. But yes, reputation is a very difficult field, because there are so many, it's such a weak measurement. It's so easily to fake reputation, to misuse this concept, so it's open if we really need and if we will use this. But the real life identity and maybe the height of the collateral which was paid in will be used to select the highest trusted arbitrators. Of course, all this pay in and pay out of the arbitrator deposit is a little bit complicated, because the key holders might change. So at the beginning, when the arbitrator enter and he has and there are 6 other key holders for this multi-sig fund, these other 6 key holders might leave the arbitration system in the meantime. When this arbitrator stays 1 year or so, there might be a come and go, and every time when one of this other arbitrator leave, then this deposit has to be transferred to a new deposit with a new key holder, so that there are all these 6 key holders which are really active available. And then there is very low risk that 2 or 3 key holders will leave at the same time. And normally when the arbitrator leaves, he has to do it in a controlled, in a managed way. So when he leaves, then if he is a key holder for somebody else, then this process will start, that this fund will be transferred to a new multi-sig address with new key holders. And when an arbitrator will leave and will not be available anymore, that would be treated like a fraud as well, and he would lose all his deposit. And of course, as the deposit is quite high, that should also help to not introduce problems in this area. And we will use a 4 of 6 multi-sig. So even if two of the 6 arbitrators will leave, there are still 4 arbitrators who are enough for signing the payout. So the risk is very low that there will be some conflicts. But this more complicated system will be probably introduced a little bit later, and in the beginning this pay in and pay out will be probably managed manually by the developers and will be then faded out as soon as we have implemented that. Here in the settings, the user has to add some arbitrators, and he see all the details. He can check out what he will accept. Maybe he will say, no, TLS notary is too much for me, I just want to have a classical arbitration method, or maybe I want to make an ID verification and I see this arbitrator is only doing that, but I want to do a social network ID verification just with my Google Plus account or something like that. So he can choose between a variety of the arbitrators which fits his needs. Yeah, the arbitrators will be segmented by language, because of course in case of a dispute it's important that both users can interact with the arbitrator, that they can communicate, and the language is the important part here. For every major language there will be a set of arbitrators. The bootstrapping of course will be a little bit difficult, but in the beginning there will be just a few arbitrators. Basically it will be probably done that at the beginning the developers of the project will act as arbitrators, or will choose arbitrators which they trust, which they know personally, and then it fade out that as soon as more and more arbitrators are joining, the bootstrapping arbitrators will leave and will fade out. The arbitration pool should be filled with other users at the end. There should be at least something like 5 arbitrators per language, or it would be much better if there are something like 20 to 100 arbitrators per language. But of course for some languages where less trade is going on it will be harder. Yeah, one other important part is that there will be no communication channel between the traders. That has some reason why we don't want to introduce this, because as soon as we have a direct communication channel that they could chat or so, that would open new misuse areas. For instance, one user could spam the other with some porn links, or can try to blackmail the other user or something like that. And to avoid all these problems we don't introduce any communication channel. Of course the privacy is leaked between the traders as soon they're starting to trade. They have the bank details where the name is included, and they could try to find out a communication channel out of our system with the name, but it's very hard to find the real person behind some name, and so I think that's not a very high risk. And also, if a trader would contact out of system the other trader, that would be treated as a misuse of the system, and the other user can report this to the arbitrator, and the arbitrator can decide how to handle this case. There will be some clear rules, like the traders have to wait until this maximum bank transfer period is over. They cannot complain after 1 day or so, because the bank normally it's frequently that the bank might need more time like expected, and there will be some warnings included. So in the half of the time both users get a warning that they check their bank transfers, and then after this period the user who has not received his money can then contact the arbitrator. There will be then a communication screen where they can chat and can communicate directly, and the arbitrators will probably get in contact with both users to be sure to find out who was the honest guy and who was the cheater. The dishonest guy will pay the arbitration fee that will be taken from the collateral, and there might be cases where no user was dishonest, it was just a problem from the bank or something like that, and then the arbitrator has to decide how to deal with the case. Then he probably will divide the fees, that both are losing half of the fees, and yeah, the arbitration system is the most important part as protection, so I wanted to go into the details of that in this video. Thanks for listening.